e nós vamos falar sobre o uso de visão computacional na produção animal. O nosso palestrante é o Ben Allen, ele é dos Estados Unidos, ele é referência no uso de inteligência artificial e visão computacional na produção animal. Ele é CEO da Bean Century, uma empresa que está revolucionando e instalando sensores para otimizar as operações e reduzir custos da agroindústria. Ben, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Can you listen me?
I can hear you. Hola.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for accepting to speak in our event. Welcome to Next. E have a good presentation. Go ahead.
Excellent. Obrigado. Thank you so much for letting me present to this group. I really appreciate it. I apologize that I could not be there in person, and will do my best to correct that and show up in person next time you get together. So I'm excited to talk to you for the next half an hour about artificial intelligence and how it is being used in agriculture. I am the CEO of Bin Century, and we use artificial intelligence aggressively. We use it in the firmware, the software that is connected to our sensors. We use it in our software, our cloud computing, to do forecasting and analytics. And we use it in our software coding. So approximately 60% of our software code is written by artificial intelligence tools today, which is quite surprising to most people. I'll also say that Bin Century is the global leader in using artificial intelligence for animal feed supply chain monitoring. We monitor tens of thousands of feed bins every single day, predominantly in North America today, although we are excited that we have entered into a brand new partnership with Cargill to be able to have better access and partnership for Brazilian customers. So you will be seeing more of me, hopefully, in media and in meetings as we continue to spend more time serving customers in Brazil. So artificial intelligence. Some people don't understand how quickly it is moving. So if you have used artificial intelligence within the last year and found that it is silly in some of its responses or slow or broken, I would encourage you to use it again today to see how far it has come in just the last 12 months. Artificial intelligence, specifically the tools that are paid. So the free tools are always the cheaper, slower versions. But the paid versions of artificial intelligence today are moving extremely rapidly. To give you some idea of where we stand in artificial intelligence today. So there has not been a human that could beat a computer in any game on the planet for over 6 years. Go, the game of Go, is considered to be the most difficult strategic game played. And Google's DeepMind model beat Go champions 6 years ago. Since that time, computers have won all games against all masters. And it was important when Google won the Go challenge because the way they went about it was unique. So Google didn't train its gaming model by playing thousands of games. It simply told the computer model what the rules of the game were. And it told it to do its best to win. And within hours, the computer model had simulated millions of games created strategies and moves that no human had ever thought of or used, and became the best player on the planet. The computer model became the best player on the planet within hours of being launched. Hours in 2019. So what does this mean to us today? Well, today, artificial intelligence is better, and machine vision is better at looking at medical imagery than humans are. Artificial intelligence doesn't show up late to the office. It doesn't have a fight with its spouse and have a bad day looking at images. So they make fewer mistakes and they respond faster. Personally, today, if I had medical imaging needs, I would prefer an artificial intelligence review as opposed to a human review. So this is being used today. This news article is 6 months old. We have also proven, and medicine is a forefront area for artificial intelligence, that ChatGPT was more accurate and faster than human doctors in handling diagnoses requests. Doctors hate this, but humans are messy, and medical problems have multiple variables, multiple unknowns. And the computers are better already today than human doctors in many cases, not all cases, but in many cases, at diagnosing problems and doing it more accurately and more quickly. We have reached the point in computer growth where we are going vertical. The improvements are going straight up. You know, many of you, when you were in high school or university, if you worked in statistics, you would do a math problem that said if you had a single bacteria in a pond and it doubled every day, how many days before the pond is 100% covered? And it's significantly faster than most people understand. That exponential math, the doubling effect, is very hard for humans to comprehend. We're bad at it. It's why we were bad at understanding how quickly COVID would move during the pandemic. It's why people get caught off guard by how fast robotics and computers are moving, because it's exponential math. And we think about linear math. That's what we're good at. Humans are very good at 1 + 1 = 2. That's how we approach the world. And the difference in this silly cartoon, the difference in between a linear line of growing in linear math and growing exponentially is the colored in red area. That's the gap of understanding that most humans have around exponential math. And we are already on the exponential curve for artificial intelligence development. And it is making every other technology look slow. Every other technology. The best way to equate the rate of growth is to talk about computer chips and compute capability. So I worked in semiconductor for a while for Advanced Micro Devices, one of the largest computer chip makers on the planet. And computer chip production is governed by a law known as Moore's Law. Moore's Law states that a computer chip's ability to compute will double every 24 months. So every 2 years, computer chips get twice as fast. And that math has been true since the 1950s. It is still true today. Our computing capability on this planet doubles every 2 years. So if you have an iPhone that is 2 years old, today's iPhone or smartphone is twice as fast when it comes out. The interesting thing about the exponential math is that every time we double, it's a much bigger jump than it was in the previous cycle. And so you can see in the upper right-hand portion of this graph, at the very top in the right where it says AlphaGo 0. In 2019, that was Google's victory over the AlphaGo masters in the gaming. So we are already in 2019 at the top of this chart. Today in 2025, we are off of this chart. We are approaching, with artificial intelligence models, the ability to compete with the human mind processing capability. We have gone vertical. Now, the key difference to understand about this speed, in our lifetimes, we have experienced the computer chip doubling every 2 years. So you have some comprehension of how fast our devices and our computers have improved. Well, artificial intelligence is doubling every 2 to 4 months. That means in the next 2 years, it will take for computer chips to double their capability. The artificial intelligence models will double somewhere between 5 to 12 times. They are on a completely different path. Same shape of a graph, but significantly steeper and moving faster. It is really hard to get that point across in a way that audiences actually understand it. So for a computer chip example, it means instead of doubling in 2 years, the iPhone that would come out in a year would be not just 2 times faster, not just 4 times faster, but 8 to 10 times faster. And that it would be doing it consistently every 3 to 4 months. And that's what we're experiencing with artificial intelligence models right now. They are doubling in their ability to deal with human tasks every 3 to 4 months. Skeptically, if you're a skeptic, you would say that they are doubling every 7 to 8 months. And the way that we measure that generally is in the length of human task that they can complete. So a year ago, ChatGPT could complete a task that took a human about a minute. Today, it can complete a task that takes a human an hour. And by complete, I mean near simultaneous completion. It is moving extremely quickly. And it's important to understand what that means for us. If you have any doubt about how quickly this is moving, I would suggest that you follow the money. And the raw material for artificial intelligence is computer chips, the silicon. Sales for NVIDIA is now the leading computer chip manufacturer for artificial intelligence, have increased exponentially. They expect to be reaching quarterly sales of nearly $135 billion within the next 7 quarters. They have been beating their quarters every quarter for the last 6 quarters, overperforming. Their last quarter, they overperformed by $2 billion over a 90-day cycle, and their quarterly sales reported were over $40 billion US dollars. So the raw materials to support artificial intelligence are being purchased aggressively. They're being purchased by tech companies, Google, Microsoft, Amazon. They are being purchased by large enterprise companies that are building their own data centers. They are being purchased by governments and militaries in volume, and NVIDIA cannot make them fast enough to meet demand. They are on what we call allocation. They can only make so much. But globally, across all computer chip makers, we are approaching a pace that is $1 billion of chip sales every 24 hours. For an agricultural guy, that is mind-boggling. That we could be selling nearly $1 billion of chips every time I wake up in the morning. But it does explain why robotics are starting to move so quickly, because the software is moving faster than ever before, and the software is driving robotics and manufacturing and software improvements in all industries. So why should you care? Well, this will have an impact on almost every part of agriculture. Genetics. I would guess that the people in this room spend millions of dollars on genetics annually. You have a very good understanding of how important it is to have the best genetics for your animals. And to have that, you better be working with a company that is using artificial intelligence to identify those best genetics, because humans cannot keep up. If your genetics provider is not using artificial intelligence, you should change. It's just that simple, because the genetics companies using artificial intelligence will far outpace, within the next 12 to 18 months, the companies that are slow to adopt it. It won't be close. Vaccines and pharmaceuticals, same exact story. So MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, a university in the United States, did a study, built an artificial intelligence engine to try and solve an antibiotics challenge so that they could address virus or bacteria and viruses that are resistant to antibiotics, primarily bacteria. The computer looked at all of the molecules in its database and came up with the answer in 18 hours. It was a novel molecule that humans had never considered putting together. It was a molecule that came out of an existing database and was selected for the best opportunity to deal with the challenge of medicine, the antibiotic resistant bacteria that it was aimed to fight. And it had already been simulated to be successful. That work had already been attempted for years by multiple doctors in multiple labs around the world. So I'm very excited about this. This is one of the exciting parts of artificial intelligence. We will start to solve illnesses like cancers and tumors, multiple sclerosis, MS, other illnesses faster than ever before because of this computational capability. It's extremely exciting, but it's exciting not just for us as humans, but also for animals. We are going to continue to have better pharmaceuticals for livestock. We are also going to continue with artificial intelligence to maximize nutrition. Today we spend This room spends a lot of money on nutritionists. I'm sure there are nutritionists and veterinarians in this room that work very hard on this topic and know way more about nutrition than I ever will. But the ability to take a very complex problem, specific genetic needs, specific production targets, environmental variables, and then maximize nutrition for your targets is a problem that's well built for artificial intelligence. And we are watching today leading nutritional companies use artificial intelligence to drive cost-effective and high-performing nutritional formulations. So I'm going to apply this to something that we work in every day, which is the milling of feed and the delivery of feed out to barns or animal production sites. How does that work today? Well, it works in the same way in the United States as it does in Brazil, as it does in Asia. The global animal feed business is very similar. It's built on reaction time. And so somebody in the field, a farmer or an employee, checks an animal bin and then makes a phone call or sends a text to say, I need more feed, here's how much I need. Workers at a feed mill receive that text or phone call and they put it into a spreadsheet, and then they try to determine how much feed they need to make of each formulation. And then they go to another spreadsheet in Excel, sometimes a whiteboard or chalkboard, and they schedule out the delivery and the routes and the labor schedules to get the feed out to the barns. My grandfather did scheduling for a feed mill in Iowa, in the middle of the United States, in the 1960s. He would recognize everything about the way the industry works today, except maybe the spreadsheets like Excel. Everything else about getting a call from the field, determining what to make, and then scheduling trucks has been running the same way for decades. And we are remarkably good at meeting our needs with a bad system. But it is a bad system. Don't kid yourself. It's a bad system because humans are guessing at how much feed they need and when they need it by. We're not that good at that. It's a bad system because we're asking people to climb ladders and risk their personal safety in order to give us that bad data. That's a bad trade. And it's a bad system because it's reactionary. We're always reacting in the animal feed business to what the field or the barns are telling us they need. And they don't know that well. And this problem has gotten worse, not better, over the last 10 years as labor challenges, employee challenges have gotten worse. The more turnover, the more change in employees, the worse their guessing gets on their feed orders. So by 2026, within the next 12 months, leading companies will be using artificial intelligence to run their animal feed supply chains. We don't want humans guessing at how much feed we have and then guessing how much feed they need and when they need it. They're just not accurate enough. So we put sensors in those bins that are highly accurate, that don't call in sick and don't make bad guesses. And then we always know what's going on out at the barn. We know the rate at which feed is being consumed. We know if there's feed at the barn. We know if it's out and there's a problem. And we get that information on any device at any time. And we use that information to then tell the mill how much volume we're going to need in the future, not just now. We can forecast feed demand out for 7 to 10 days, something that's never been possible in the animal feed supply chain. But that makes for a much easier day running a feed mill, to know not just what you need today, but what you might need over the next week or so. And then we use artificial intelligence to do the scheduling for delivery. Because the other problem that having barn workers or farmers call in is that they're constantly topping off. They know they can't see exactly what they need. So they order partial orders so that they don't run out. Everybody knows it's terrible to run out. It's like if your car or truck didn't have a gas gauge. What would you do? You would stop more often to get petrol more often. You would stop for fuel more often because you'd be scared of getting down. Well, that's what our farmers and workers do at the barns. They don't want to get all the way down to zero, so they top off, which means we send trucks more often than we have to. So we watch tens of thousands of feed bins every single day. And there are leading companies that are putting this on 100% of their operations. We are now installing sensors. Last month, we installed sensors on 2,700 feed bins in just the month of April. That's how quickly this is starting to move. Because if you compare a business that depends on people to manage its animal feed supply chain, as opposed to technology to manage that data and supply chain, the money is different. Yes, you have to pay for the technology, but you make more money because you're sending less trucks and you're running out of feed less and you're spending less worker hours getting the bad data. And so you have a higher profitability rate, which means that you can invest in technology faster. The animal companies on this planet that use this type of technology will buy the animal companies that do not use it, because their operating profits will be higher. If you're using this technology, your transportation costs are significantly lower. Your labor costs for tracking this are significantly lower. Your out of feed events are significantly lower. And your feed returns, having to go out and pick up feed you already delivered, significantly lower. And that's important because we all know the large animals can't eat the nursery food. Well, they can, but it's not ideal. We also found that when we started watching more than 10,000 feed bins a day, which happened well over a year ago, that there is a hidden problem. Most barns have 2 feed bins. And we do that for inventory management. So if we run out of one, we can turn the other one on, right? Well, the farmers and the workers don't know when to make the switch. There's no light or alarm or bell that goes off to say, switch over the bins. They just have to check. And what we found is it's really hard to check. We're not that good at it as humans. Big companies aren't that good at it. Small companies aren't that good at it. In fact, the feed outages caused by failing to switch over bins is the biggest problem in the animal industry on this planet. And none of you have any data on it. So I'm going to show you some data on it. This graph that I'm showing you, the blue color is one feed bin and the purple is another one. And right in the middle, you can see where the purple feed bin went empty. And they had done all the work to deliver the blue feed, or the feed into the blue bin. But they didn't know to open it. They missed opening it for over a day. That's an out of feed event. The animals don't care why they're not eating. They just aren't eating. And 70 to 80% of the time you are not feeding animals is this problem. Now, somebody in the room is saying, that's not possible. There's no way we're that bad at that. I promise you, you're that bad at that. Because it's that hard. Great animal companies are this bad at this. You typically rank your out of feeds, which are the red bars in this graph, by how many times you run out of feed at the barn. Because somebody barks at somebody else. It's a mistake. We yell. But none of you have any data on the yellow bars, which is the slide management problems. We didn't turn on the right bin at the right time. If you're curious why out of feed numbers have never correlated to FCR performance or feed conversion ratio performance, it's because the biggest cause of out of feeds hasn't been charted. Once you chart it, you get a nearly 1-to-1 mathematical correlation to out of feed hours and feed conversion performance. Feed is 70% of the cost of raising your animals. Nothing is more important. And making sure those animals have feed all the time is the best way to have top performance out of the genetics and the nutrition money that you are spending. And that is what we track. The biggest operational improvement on this planet for every single animal producer on this planet is to use better technology to improve operational management at the barns of animal feed. The study that we did was over 200,000 hogs for over a year, 195 groups. The feed conversion ratio improvement was 7 points. There is nothing else in your business that you can do today to pick up 7 points of FCR performance. And it just comes down to visibility, being able to see into the barns and into the feed bins. So if you can be more profitable than your competitor, if you can raise animals with better FCR performance, if you can send less trucks to do it and spend less worker hours to do it, then you will make more money. And that is an operational advantage, which is extremely important in a commodity industry that works on tight margins and high volumes, which is exactly what artificial intelligence is being used for. All of the Excel spreadsheet work and the back and forth calls are going to be taken over extremely quickly by high quality sensors and artificial intelligence software that will replace spreadsheets very quickly. Anything you're doing in a spreadsheet or that humans are calling each other for, the majority of that work is going to be automated in front of your eyes. It is moving that quickly. It's the difference between managing a bin that you can't see and managing a bin that you could see through and know perfectly what the answer was for without training. And the opportunity to add more money to your bottom line by taking better care of your workers and your animals is real today. It's why we install 2,000 to 3,000 sensors every month. And we're excited to just share that story with you today. I wish I could be there to talk to you and learn from you what your responses to this are. I hope to be there when you get together next time. But, thank you so much for the opportunity to talk about this. Artificial intelligence is geeky or nerdy. and that makes me a geek or a nerd, because I get very excited about how it's coming. I'm excited about what it means for my health, for my family, for my cars, for robotics. And I'm excited about what it means for our customers to make more money and be even safer as they do it, and to build even better, more profitable food for us as a planet. Thank you very much for your patience. Obrigado.
Thank you, Ben.
Filho de nosso Senhor.
Agradecer ao Ben que, mesmo não conseguindo vir, obviamente, né, ele presente aqui é diferente, mas ele quis trazer essa parte bem interessante sobre como que a visão computacional está ajudando, né, na gestão de silos. Muito, muito interessante, né, porque quanto problema que a gente tem em checar como é que está o silo, né, problema de transporte, gasto com transporte, gestão.